Hey crafters! One of my favorite new things to do to keep my hands busy is working with leather. It's a trade that's been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years, and I feel a real kinship to it. This leather holster project is super beginner friendly and really only requires a minimal amount of tools. So the process of creating leather, for the most part, is not exactly sustainable or cruelty-free. So what I like to do is use remnants that would otherwise get thrown away. Since the cuts are always random and oddly shaped, it forces you to be more creative and makes it so each thing you make is truly one of a kind. You want to start by sizing up your leather. This white leather is super thick, and this gray leather, not so much. We're just gonna go right in and cut a piece off. You're supposed to use a metal straight edge and a utility knife, but I'm content using my sharp scissors. Real leather workers would probably be upset with me. But just make sure to cut on an angle and it works just fine. You can also use the scissors to bevel the edges a bit. For this project, I'm going to be using a series of triangular-esque pieces with squared sides. That's what makes it triangular-esque. Okay, let out your inner riveter. It's time to hit some To set rivets, you need a mallet and rivets. These are line 24 rapid rivets. Line 24s are used for thicker leather, and line 20s are used for thinner leather. I'm going to be connecting this thick and thin leather, so I'm sticking with the 24s. First, you have to punch some holes. If you need to let out some aggression, do it on the leather, not your walls. I'm using this mini punch set to make it happen. You also need a hard surface like an anvil, a slab of marble, or a table you don't care about denting. You also want some scrap leather for any over-punching that may happen. Position your leather pieces and hole punch, then strike the top with force once or twice until you've made a hole. Take out your rivet and push the eyelet part through the back and position the cap on top. Then use a rivet setter and appropriate anvil to whack that rivet in place. You want to practice this a couple times before doing it on your main project. Rivet, rivet. I went rivet crazy and used them to create a little scissor holster and friends. Also using a rivet to connect the two pieces together. Then I used contact cement to connect two scraps so I can make a little pouch. This stuff is super toxic, so make sure all your windows are open and face masks are worn. Once it's all dry, you can use your mallet to pound folds in place. It's actually really cool how that works. And make sure to square up all your edges so it looks pretty. Alright, use your hole punch to punch a hole where the front of the snap will go. Then use that hole as a guide to mark with the hole punch where the other hole will go. This is a line 24 snap and there's 4 parts. This is the pretty cap part that you get to see on the outside, then this piece goes on top of that. And the other 2 pieces go like this. Push the cap part through the front of your flap hole, then connect the other piece. Now use a line 24 snap setter and anvil to pound it in place, cap side down. Next, push the eyelet through the other hole and place the snap piece on top, making sure everything's positioned right so the snap actually closes. Use the same setter, but not the rounded anvil. This time you just want a flat anvil and bang away. Then you can use the contact cement to connect the sides like so. Yay, little pouch! And even littler pouch. I die of cuteness. Next, I glued down a long scrap strip to the original piece I cut, then used the rivet demo piece to connect that piece to my other pieces. Then I glued my pouches down, but you can also use rivets for this. My neighbors were not liking the banging after a while, so I had to stop. Lastly, add a snap to close the belt, and you are done! Watch out, world! Here I come!